everybody. So I'm Marissa Hishon. I'm our Manager of Training and Implementations here at QReserve. And we have a number of others on our team here. So I will ask them to do a quick introduction of themselves. I'll hand it over. Sarah, you're the next one I see on the screen. So how about we'll go to you next.
Sure thing. Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah Farnell. I am the Director of Product at QReserve, and I will pass it over to Graham.
Thanks, Sarah. Hi, everyone. Graham Brown. I'm one of the co-founders and the CEO of QReserve. Happy to be on the call, interested in hearing the questions, and if you have any questions to me specifically, happy to answer them. Cindy.
Thanks, Graham. Hello, everyone. My name is Cindy Umutoni, and I'm a Training and Implementation Specialist here at QReserve. Avery, over to you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Avery. I'm a co-op student with QReserve, and I'm loving my time here so far. I'm happy to be here and happy to hear all the questions. I'll pass it on to Dominique.
Hi, everyone. Dominique Kurchenko, Director of Training and Implementations. Excited to answer all of your questions.
Got to pass it on, Dominique.
Oh, I forgot to pass on. Kyle, over to you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Kyle. I'm a marketing growth intern here at QReserve and a PhD candidate at McMaster. So excited to hear everyone today.
Awesome. I think that covers everybody that's here on the call. Thanks, everyone, for your intros. So what we can do in terms of asking questions is, of course, feel free to unmute yourselves to ask a question if you'd like. The mute button, unmute button in Google Meet is at the bottom of your screen. There's a row of icons, and it's the far left. There's a microphone icon, so you can click it on and off to mute or unmute yourself. You can also type your questions in the chat. If you go to the bottom right corner of your screen, there's a speech bubble icon. If you click on that, that is our chat. You can type it directly into the chat, and we'll see your question there. We'll keep monitoring that throughout the call. We also do have the Q&A available. If you click on the grid of dots at the bottom right, it's to the right side of the speech bubble. You'll see a Q&A option. You can click on that and submit questions there. You're welcome to submit under your name, or you can also submit anonymously there. But we promise, again, the whole saying of there are no stupid questions is very true. Please ask anything. We are happy to answer. And I'm sure also if you're thinking of a certain question, probably there are others who are also thinking of that same question and would love to hear the answer. So feel free to ask anything, and don't feel embarrassed. We're happy to answer any questions you might have. Okay, so we've got Jen asking, is it possible to see all of the questions that were submitted? Yeah, we're actually recording the session, and we will post it on our QUniversity page within the next, say, week or so. So you will be able to rewatch, and we'll try to get to all of the questions today. If there's anything, again, that we need to follow up on after the call, anything in depth, then we'll make arrangements with those people specifically, and we can walk them through anything else. Excellent. Okay, so if anyone's got a question now, let me open up the floor to that. We do have some questions that were also submitted ahead of time that we can go to fill in, but I'll open it up to see if anybody has a question at the moment before we go to our list. Okay, I don't see anything or hear anything. Oh,
I'm sorry.
Michael, did I hear you? Go ahead.
I would like to ask you about some clever way to organize resources, as we have many resources of same kind, and it's a small items, so we can't get there the barcode. We are looking for a way to scan like one barcode more times to acquire a specific number of rented items. So okay. I'm struggling a bit with this. So if it's some short or clear way to organize it, I will be happy to hear it. Thank you.
Sure. Okay. So these are items that are loanable items. So they're borrowed and then they're returned when the user's finished with them.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Mostly just one-timers.
Right. Okay. So I guess I'll start kicking us off, and we might need to pass over to Cindy for some more details because I know she's worked quite a lot with loanable resources. But so we have the ability to set up resources in QReserve that have multiple units. So that is one way of keeping it more organized. So that, let's say you have a number of laptops that are loaned out to different users. Instead of having laptop 1, laptop 2, laptop 3, which gets confusing, and it doesn't matter which one people borrow. Maybe they're all really the same. They're interchangeable. And so in that case, you could just have a resource named laptop and then have it 10 units, for example, and let those get loaned out. You can also have named units, so they are specific. So you could establish, say, a barcode or identifier for each of those laptops that's under that umbrella of resource called laptop. Does that make sense? I don't know if that answers the question, but that will help it be more organized.
Yes, the first part, yes.
Yeah.
The second part about named units, we tried it with the named units, but it's for us it's too complicated with the small items to use named units.
Okay.
It's why I'm asking about this.
Okay, so is it? Can you explain what was complicated? Is it because there were so many of them?
Yes, yes, yes. And so many and so small, like cables and lots of reductions, and so it's like really small items and
Right.
sometimes hard to check and catch the numbers because sometimes it's 100 of them.
I see. I'm thinking, Cindy, do we have any customers that might have large quantities of these small units that you may be able to think of a best way to organize them?
I think they don't really have their own barcodes, what you can do instead is just do one resource, no named units, just regular units, give it 100 units in total. And right now, if you don't have barcodes for any of those, what you can do is with any resource in QReserve that you create, it comes with its own QR code. If you have a barcode scanner, instead of scanning a barcode of each of your instruments, or scan the QR code of your resources. If you need to rent out or loan out 10 of them, just scan it 10 times, and it will add that to the loan. The only limitation right now is when it comes to returning items, we cannot do partial returns. So that means you have to return all of them at once. But when it comes to lending them out, you can scan the QR code multiple times. Does that answer your question, Michelle?
Okay, great. It was answer for my question. Thank you very much.
And do you know?
I will try.
Okay, that in QReserve?
Sorry?
Do you know where to find the units in QReserve to add the number of units in?
Oh, yes.
Great. So for the rest of you on the line who may not know, if you go into administration and then resources and select your resource, you'll be able to add units. Select the units option, and then you can specify how many units are available. Give it a try if you haven't tried.
Yeah. It's the easiest way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much for the question. Let me just do a quick check of our Q&A before we. Okay, there. Okay. Anybody else quickly before we look at our submitted questions? Oh, okay. Let's go over to our list. And start over here. Sarah, I have a question that I think would relate to you. Could you let us know, how do we choose which customers are featured on our customer stories page?
Yes. Okay, so we have a page on our website called Customer Stories, and it's where we feature how some of our customers have been using QReserve. Right now, I think we have 5 stories. And how we started that out was we were looking for sort of different types of organizations using us. So we have one from Sick Kids Research Institute, one from Humber College, one from Video Pool, Communitex. So we're looking sort of for different types of industries. Since we are industry agnostic, we're used by a bunch of different types of customers. So we wanted to showcase how QReserve can be used across different industries. That But now that we have sort of a buildup of customer stories, we really are just interested in how different customers are using us. So if they're using us to solve like a complex problem or using us in a different way that might be not the typical QReserve use. And we love to feature like stats. So if a customer knows, you know, we are saving like 100 hours a month using QReserve, those like measurable outcomes are really great to showcase. And normally we come across those from like Dominique or Marissa or Cindy, who are working with clients day to day. They're hearing what those clients are using QReserve for, and then that sort of turns into like a natural conversation about if they would be interested in being showcased on our marketing site. But if that sounds interesting to you, feel free to reach out to us. And yeah, we love to just feature how people are using QReserve. Does that answer your question?
I think it does, Sarah. It was an anonymous one, so I'm not sure who asked it, but thank you.
Okay, cool.
Thank you, question submitter, and thanks so much, Sarah. Yeah, if anyone is interested in being featured on our customers page, as Sarah said, please reach out. We'd be happy to dig down into your story a little bit more and have you featured. We love all of our customers. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Okay, I think this one, Cindy, I think you can take this one. The question is, can we set training expiry dates so that a user is automatically blocked from booking a specific microscope once their safety certification expires?
Yes, definitely. That's a great question. We have a credential management module in QReserve that allows you to create different credential types or membership types that expire at different validity periods. And so with that, you're able to restrict a resource's access to users who have that training and have that training in a valid state. When you create a credential type, you can set if it should be indefinite, so never ending, or if it should have an expiration date after a year, after a month, 3 months. So you have the ability to restrict that to whatever makes sense in your use case. Marissa, did you want to share the screen for credentials and where that lives, just so we can show that?
Sure, just give me 1 second. We can share our good old lab demo site that you guys are probably familiar with because we use it in our Q&A all the time. Okay, sorry, Cindy, you wanted me to go into the credentials?
Yes.
Okay, so if we click on our administration tab right here, everyone can see that. Okay, and then under users, and then you can see here we have a credentials tab right underneath, and that's where our credentials live. So we can see our credential list here, and we can also manage our credential types by going up to the top right here. And there's our credentials, and you can see if there's a duration. So for example, this one expires every 12 months, and this one is indefinite. Is there anything else you'd like me to show, Cindy?
I think that's a good overview. Thanks, Marissa.
Okay, thanks. While we're on the subject of credentials, does anyone on the call have any questions related to credentials or how to use it? Any use cases that you're interested in exploring or have any questions about that? Oh, great. Hi, Erica. Asking how to assign credentials. So, sorry, Cindy, I don't want to talk over top. So you can go continue on, please, with your explanation.
Yes, definitely. So from here, right, if you go back to manage user credentials, there are a number of ways you can assign credentials to a user. So you'll see that under or next to each credential, there's a list of users, and it can show you just at a glance who has the credential, how long it's valid for, etc. Let's do one. Well, we're going to assign it to Abby's account. On the tools, under the tools column is where you can find that plus, the green plus button. You can click that. You can set it to never expire. You can have it, leave it with the default expiry date, or just do a custom one as needed. Yes, and then we can also add notes if you want to notify the user, or also add who trained the user on this specific instrument or piece of equipment. And then if you click save, awesome. So the user will not be certified. They will receive a notification that they're now trained or they have a valid credential for the lab safety training, and that will open up access to their account. So that's one way to do it. That's manual. The other way is if you go to the users list, just the regular user menu, and click on, that's the same thing for Abby, just on her account. And then under identifiers and records is where you'll find credentials. So you can see all the credentials that this user has, and you can add a new one if you need to. Suppress notifications is a button that you can choose to click if you don't want to notify your users that they've been granted a credential. But if you leave it on, or actually leave it off, leading up to their credential expiration, they will receive these notifications in their inbox, just letting them know that 30 days ahead of their credentials expiration, they will either need to recertify or reach out to your team to learn more about how to get the credential added back to their account. And then a final way, we've done another Q&A where we talked about workflows. And so workflows with the triggers is a great way to assign a credential automatically. So you can say something like, after you book a training session and your session is approved, grant this user this training credential. So perhaps there's a training session or lab safety training session that users have to attend. If your training session is approved, that means your trainer has confirmed that you've arrived. They've confirmed that you've gone through all the material, and then once they approve that, then that sends you, or that grants you access to the lab safety training credential.
Great. That's lots of ways, Cindy. Thank you. That's awesome. The other thing that I would just note is I believe we can do the bulk upload as well, just if you have a lot to do at once. So you can do more than one at a time if you want to sign credentials, say, to a mass group of people instead of one by one. So that's also another way. It works in the same way. It just does more than one at a time. All right. Hopefully that answers that credential question. Were there any other questions about that? You're welcome.
I'm sorry, it's possible to use credentials to assign like specific inspections or something to devices, or it could be used only to users?
Oh, you mean, can you assign credentials to resources?
Yeah.
No, they can only be assigned to users. But if you can explain maybe what you're trying to do with it, maybe we can help you think of a way to accomplish that.
We would like to check or like to have in evidence like annual inspections or some for devices, or we have some kind of like service level agreements which are occurring once a year, but we need sometimes to like have reminders, and we want to have it in some one system or assigned to one person to control it and to have all dates in mind. So we would like to make him easier, and with the credentials and with, I saw that training thing and training assignment, I thought about our problem with these annual inspections.
So I guess you could, if you need to do the credential, like with the reminder, I suppose you could assign a credential to that person and just call it like maintenance on resource A or whatever you're calling it, with an expiry. So I guess it would trigger those. You can also, are you logging the maintenance in the resource as well?
Yes, we are using maintenance for resources.
And actually, maybe this question would be a good one for Dominique, if I can put you on the spot here, because Dominique just did an excellent Q&A, or excuse me, QUniversity webinar on maintenance management. So
yeah, happy to jump in here. I was just about to unmute myself. So I think that this would be a really great application for a maintenance record. We see a lot of clients specifically, like if you have a maintenance contract that you want to be reminded about, based on the expiry date. There are a couple of ways that we could do it in a very simple sense. We can do a maintenance record, so it appears on your calendar. It doesn't have to block access to the booking. So I would do a non-blocking maintenance record with the purpose as the reminder to renew the service contract or to book something in before the service contract expires. We can also take this down a little bit more of a complicated and automated path where we can have a custom field that tracks the expiry date for like your maintenance contracts. And then we can have a workflow, like a trigger that sends you a notification, sends the service company an email based on that date, makes a reservation. We could tell the workflow to do a number of different things based on that service contract renewal date. But I think that it's probably best to be kept either as a custom resource property or a maintenance record in here. What I can do is we have a link to that recorded demo or the recorded QU from last week. And I spent a little bit kind of walking through the different ways to set that up. I'd be interested to see if that sort of helps achieve what you're trying to set up here.
Okay, thanks. Great. It looks great. Yeah.
Perfect. I'll add a note there and I will shoot you an email after with that link.
Great. And I see Jen had a similar question for that. So hopefully that answers it. If you need more explanation, Jen, Dominique can send the link out as well to you if you'd like, or you can watch it on our QUniversity page, which will walk you through that. It has some descriptions that she's mentioned to walk through how to set that up. And then if you have any more questions after you've watched that and given it a try in your set, you're welcome to contact us with that as well. Oh, thanks.
Thank you, Sarah. Perfect.
Great. Sarah's got that link right there that just popped up in our chat. And also, if you go to our QReserve website, QReserve.com, and click on the QUniversity page, the archived webinars are down at the bottom of the page, so we can find it there too. So, yeah, those are great questions. Okay, I think that, let me just check here. Okay, that's our chat. Awesome. Okay, anything else with credentials before I pluck another question from our list? We're good. Okay, excellent. Let me go on to a slightly different question. So we have a question here. Is there a way to attach a document like a PDF when we want to send a quote or an invoice from QReserve? You all want to take that one on? I can answer, but I don't want to take all the answers. Yeah. Okay, I'll take it. So at this point in time, we do not have the ability within QReserve, when you're sending out invoices and quotes, to attach a PDF that goes out to a customer. You can attach a file internally to one of those documents that admins can see only, but it's not something that's like a public attachment. So not in that sense that our question is asking. Is this a feature we could add? We can certainly submit a feature request on our end to see if that is something that can be added on. Just to kind of update everybody on that, if you're not aware, if you haven't had a chance to contact us about any sort of feature requests before, you are welcome at any point in time to contact us through our email at hello@QReserve.com, or if you have an account manager or one of us, please feel free to reach out if you have suggestions or questions about features that we do have in the software already, or whether we can add new features into the software. We're always happy to talk to you and all of our customers about potential new functionality that can be set up, because you're the experts in what you do, and we'd like to hear from you. How are you using QReserve, and how can we make it better? The software has evolved a lot over the last 15 years that it's been around. It's very robust now, but there can always be added in. So we're happy to take any sort of inquiries and requests. We may not be able to do them all, but we do like to hear about how you're using it and what sort of features would be helpful for you. Let's see, there is a couple more questions in that related to that too. Can we program an automatic reminder to the client when an invoice is overdue? So you've sent the invoice out, it hasn't been paid. Can there be an auto reminder? Again, we currently do not have that in QReserve. Sounds like a good idea. We could, again, certainly submit a feature request on that. So we will do that after the call. We'll add that as a request from our end. And yeah, sir, go ahead.
لا ما باش ترانسفير على ليسونس ما فهمتش فوالا
Sorry, are you asking? I'm sorry, I can't hear. Are you asking questions?
فوالا
No problem. Didn't get muted. One second, folks. I'm just gonna, I think we have someone that just didn't get muted. Oh, there we go. Okay. So the last question in that set of questions, how can we automatically decrement an account when a reservation is done? I'm going to call, I think, on Cindy again, because we were just talking about this recently. If you wouldn't mind going through your explanation, because I think we had potentially a couple ways we can do this.
Yes, so we actually have a spending account feature in QReserve. It's under users, the users menu, and accounts. And if you go down there, you can set an amount that users can debit from anytime they make a reservation. Now, this doesn't happen after a reservation is over. It happens at the time of the reservation. So if you had, let's say, $100 to spend, and you make a reservation for a $20 booking, then that will get taken out of the account immediately, and you will see how much you have remaining. One other good thing with the spending account is if you happen to cancel your reservation, that will credit that amount to your spending account, so you'll have the initial balance back and available. For admins, I think we can show where that is, Marissa. Under users.
One moment, let me just get back in here. Okay, so
yes, users and accounts. Yes, and so you can set or you can add or alter accounts for different users. You can do that by user group. So you can add different amounts for each individual person under that specific user group. And so from there, you can say this amount renews monthly or weekly if you want it to reset every week, and give the user the ability to spend or make reservations that debit from that specific amount. Does that kind of like cover what these spending accounts do and how to debit from your account after each usage?
Yeah, I think that explains the accounts. Yeah, makes sense. Again, if anybody needs to get walked through anything more in detail, we can certainly set up a call with you to talk about that after. Yes, I guess the other thing I'm thinking potentially, just because I'm not sure if this is specifically relating to that or invoicing, but can you also describe potentially how we could have a reservation invoice automatically when it's done? Maybe that would be something that could be accomplished too.
For sure. So that when you set up a rate for any of your resources, you have a number of different toggles that you can enable. So depending on how you do your invoicing, if it's monthly, if it's weekly, if it's immediately after a person makes a reservation, you have a few different options. So under visibility and invoicing, you'll see the option to invoice automatically. And so this is what will send the person an invoice immediately after they make a reservation. They will see this in their preview of the reservation, so they know that they will have to pay the invoice. And with this comes the option to say, if you don't pay your invoice within 10 minutes or 20 minutes, then that auto cancels your reservation. That's one option to handle that. If you're collecting payments by credit card, for example, so things that enable for users to pay their invoices immediately. And then the option to debit from a spending account is also just right under it. If you toggle that on, the user can pay for the reservation right from their spending account. If there's a remaining balance, you can also choose to have them pay from their credit cards.
Excellent. Lots of ways to get to allow them to pay. Let me just check. I think we had a question come through on the chat. Is it possible to filter in the calendar only the resources which should be returned? I'm just guessing this is for loanable resources.
I can take that. Yes. So on the calendar, you have the option to add filters to your calendar. If you go to the main menu and yes, thank you, Marissa. And then the reservation calendar, just to see everything there, you'll have a few different options. There is a button on the top right of your screen that says Show Filters. Yes, and so from there, you can select how many or which resources are shown. You can do that by clicking one individual resource and adding it to the list, or choosing an entire category of resources, so things like all your chargers, all your batteries, you're renting those out instead. You can also do that by tags if you tagged your resources in different ways. If you're wanting to go more granular, doing that by resource is a great way to do it. I will do like an example with 2 resources, Marissa. Let's just add like, we'll do the automated trainer and the cell culture room. So you can add as many as you need and just have those show on the calendar. And you click apply filters. And then only those 2 resources will be shown on your calendar. And that applies for any different views that you have going on. The other thing too is if you often look at a filtered calendar, instead of just doing this every single time you go to look at a calendar, you can save this view as a quick link. So we'll filter this out. We're looking at the cell culture room and the automated trainer. There is a button up there right next to account that says quick links. If you click that, you can create a new quick link that will appear on your site page. So if you click on add new link, it will pull in the current filters you have going on. So what resources you have, the statuses and the calendar options. And then if you save that view, description. Perfect. And then now from your site page, you should be able to see all those options.
Here, so I don't end up in all of our sites.
Yes. And it's the one at the bottom. Yes, and so you can access it quickly from your site page, Michelle. Does that answer your question? Okay, I think so. Hope so.
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks. We touched on a couple good tips there, Cindy. Quick links too. Okay, let me just check in with our chat. Okay, we got that. All right. Anybody have a question? Yeah, go ahead. Nope. Okay. Let's go back here. We've done these ones. Approver groups. So this question says, I saw approver groups in a recent update. Can we set it up so that any member of a specific team can approve a request rather than it just going to one person? So you're likely familiar with approvers with a single person. So say you may have a specific resource and you want one person to approve any reservations that come through. Maybe you've got a conference room that you want someone to look at the reservations before they're actually approved. And so the problem that you may run into is if you only have that one person as the approver, if they're on vacation or away from their desk or they leave or whatever, you may not have that person available all the time. So you might want to assign a group of people to a resource as approvers, but you don't need to require every single one of them to approve. You might just want 1 or 2 of them to approve out of that group. So that is definitely something that we can do. So you'll want to go into administration and resources. Let's just say we're only going to do 1 at the moment. You can also use multi-edit, but we're going to just do 1. Let's just pick something here. And then if we go into reservations, you're likely all familiar with this menu. We have all these things here, but we'll look at approvers. So right now I don't have any approvers on this resource. Let's say I would like to add approvers. Oops, I'm just going to move this out of the way. So I'm going to add approver. And now you'll see we have the choice to select a user or a group. It used to only be single users that you could add, but now we have the ability to add this group. So I'm going to add a group. And then it will ask me to select from the user groups that I've already defined. So if you need to add a new user group on for that, make sure you do that first. So you'll be able to select that. So for example, maybe I want to say staff. So anybody who's in my staff group is now going to be a potential approver for this resource. Then we can choose what is the requirement for this group approval. Do I need anybody from this group to approve it? Do I need everybody from this group to approve reservations, or do I need just a specific number of people? And you can define that. So I might want to say, maybe I want 2 people out of all of my staff group to approve every reservation that comes through for microtome A. Just as you did previously with your user only approvals, you can have it automatically approve all requests. This can be used if you just need notifications that something's come through, but you don't necessarily have to actually go in and manually approve every reservation that comes through on that. You just want to make sure you're notified of anything that comes in. If you want the ability for it to stay in pending status until you have actually gone in and approved it, then just leave that toggled off the way it is now. And again, you can choose how to or whether to send emails or not about approvals. Do you want to receive notifications about these reservations that have come through for approvals, or do you not want to see those emails? So that can be toggled on or off here. And once you're done your setup, just click Add, and you'll see that that's now displayed in that resource. We have our staff group. We have 2 people required to approve out of that staff group, and it's going to show the name of the group that requires or that the resource needs approval from. So nice and easy to do. It's a great feature to have now. It's really helpful. Okay, I'm just going to check in for questions here. Let's see. Okay, we have a question here. Is there a way to limit the amount of time a user can book a resource for in total per day? So they have a limit set up per booking, so that so any reservation could only be a maximum of a certain amount of time. However, that does mean they can make multiple bookings if they go over the limit. So just to make sure everybody understands what we're kind of looking at here, perhaps the users are limited to 2 hours at a time on a certain resource, but it's not limiting how many times they can book that resource for 2 hours. So I guess the user could book 2 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours, back to back to back to back, which means they're going to be able to book many more hours than what is wanted. So can we limit the amount of time that a user can book in total per day? Cindy, I'm going to hand that one over to you too. You know that's going to you. Yes, we can. And Steve will explain what we can do.
Yes, these are great questions, Erica's and Aaliyah's. The answer is yes, we do that with scripts. Scripts allow you to set any number of very niche requirements. If you have like 2 hours maximum on equipment A, but 4 on equipment B, or perhaps all the microscopes can be booked for a number of, or maximum of 10 hours. That's something you can configure with a reservation script. We can help you set up a script that lives in your site. We also have a gem on our website that you can use if you're a bit familiar with how to put that into your AI to kind of help you generate a script with that skill of how to build that in QReserve. But this is definitely something we can help you configure. I'll make note of you both, Erica and Aaliyah, and I'll send you a follow-up with just some instructions and questions to make sure we get that before we set up a script for you.
Great, yes. And sorry, I realized there's a second part to that question. So just so that everybody is sees the question and we know the answer too. So related to that question about limiting the amount of time a user can book in total per day, the part B, is there a way to limit bookings over a family of equipment? So limiting how many slots an individual can book on a high demand equipment piece. So yes, so as Cindy answered, yes, it's possible with our scripting. So we'll send that out. And as she mentioned, we do have a Gemini gem, which is like a little helper that you can put. So Gemini is Google's AI assistant. So we do have a gem that our customers are perfectly, we're happy to have you test it out if you'd like and use it. It helps you write scripting in our language, which is Snake. It's similar to Python, but not quite. So also if you do have any Python coders that are in your organization and they want to give it a try using writing Snake, we do have documentation on our website too. So they can either plug it into the gem will spit out a script and they can kind of proofread it, debug and make sure everything's good. Or they can go right to our website and check all the documentation we have for Snake to learn the differences. And then they can write their own as well. Okay, so then the other question, also Erica, thank you. Additionally, when guests use a kiosk, is there a way to not restrict them to the same limit? Multiple people may be using the guest account.
Yes. So if they are booking from their own account, so selecting your name individually on the kiosk, the limit would apply there. But if they're booking through a guest account, then that guest can make as many bookings as they want or they need. So the answer is, by default, they will be unrestricted. But if you want to make sure they are restricted, then you will remove the ability for users to book through a guest account. But I'm guessing that's the opposite of what you're hoping to do. So that will be possible by default.
Excellent. Great. Thanks so much, Cindy. Do we have any other questions from our group before I find another one? Oh, yes, Aaliyah.
Hello. First of all, thank you for hosting this AMA. I think it's very useful to just listen in on other people's questions as well as ask our own. My question, I'm having a hard time kind of verbalizing it, but maybe if I spit it out now vocally, it'll happen. We have certain pieces of equipment that we find very difficult to have users book because they're only using them for a short period of time, whether it's 5 or 10 minutes. Is there a way, I guess, to create a way to capture that information, like a strict yes or no, am I using this equipment, and including a mention of maybe a group that that person belongs to, or yeah, it's just very difficult to get certain people to book on these items because they're like, I just have 3 samples, so they're just in and out. But we want to be able to go back to our research institutes and say, hey, this is a high in-demand equipment. We have it in use by X amount of groups over X amount of time, but we're just finding a hard time in getting the community to really partake in using the calendar system, which I love personally. It's fantastic. We've really tried to explore using it in different ways, but that's the question that I had.
Yeah, it's I see your dilemma. Yeah, obviously you can't report accurately on your information if you don't actually have the information. So Dominique, I think this one seems like something up your alley if you'd like to take this, because we have several things I think we can suggest.
Yeah, I'm going to go off of what clients with similar challenges have done, because that's not the first time we've heard that, right? And especially when it's a shorter haul reservation, that it's just like, I need it for 5 minutes. Like, what's the point of going in and doing that? And something that's worked really, really well is having a QR code by that piece of equipment that takes them directly to the calendar page with like a default, right? So if we know typical bookings are 5 to 10 minutes, we can set that as a default. So it's one less thing for them to have to toggle when checking out. So there are ways when you're setting up your QR code for a resource, you can have it default to the resource profile so they can learn more about it, see the photo, or it can default right to the calendar. So that's one option. That would still require the user to log in through the traditional like my.qreserve.com web app. Another option that's been really, really successful is going the kiosk route. And why people like the kiosk route is because you avoid the traditional login method. You could still authenticate with a PIN, so for security purposes, but it takes you to a different UI that's better suited for like a quick on-demand checkout. You can think of it that way. You could still have, just because it's a kiosk doesn't mean that we have to now go buy hardware for it. A lot of people just use a QR code to that kiosk link. But what I can do as I am talking, I can try to pull up an example or share one with Marissa to pull up just to show you, like, I guess maybe first question, have you used kiosks before? Are you familiar with that UI?
No, not kiosks in particular.
Okay, great. So I will pull up an example and I can share it in the chat or toss it over to Marissa to throw up on the screen. Or actually, I should have sharing permission. So
yeah, if not, I will try to give it to you.
Okay, just logging in here. Let me grab an example. Kiosk. Okay, I should be able to share.
Yep, you should have permission now.
Okay, so this is an example kiosk that's going to one particular piece of equipment. And again, you can have a QR code. So when you scan it with your phone, it takes you directly here. So we're skipping that traditional login page. We are hitting reserve. From here, it's still, again, only available to people that are users. So I type in my name. This is that authentication that I'm talking about. Some clients choose to remove this. You can require a PIN and a user can set their own PIN. And from here, we can have this again default to maybe it's a 5-minute booking. I'm probably going to have a bunch of questions here that I've set up for my centrifuge, but in reality, the next step for your users could be like just hit reserve, right? Maybe they don't need to answer who the PI is or what the use case is. And ultimately, they just hit reserve and they've skipped that other sort of UI where you're logging in, going to the date picker. It's a bit more streamlined and designed for like those quick on-demand bookings. So we've had a lot of success with clients going this route. And again, I'd recommend just using a QR code for it to trial it before, like, you know, if you don't want to go the hardware route, but you can create one of these basically for each of your instruments.
Awesome. I think I definitely want to explore this route with the kiosks, because when Erica asked the question, I was like, what's a kiosk? So I think that could be very useful. Thank you very much, Dominique and Marissa.
Yeah, no problem. Well, I'll send a link to in the chat right away to our documentation that has more info about this. And if this isn't something that you see in your site, it could be a subscription thing. So just shoot us an email and we'd be happy to turn this on to give you a trial of it.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, or take the hardline route and use a hardware interlock so they can't use it until they log in. Anyway.
Yes. Okay. Could you show an example of the same kiosk, but for a consumable? Seeing this, I don't know if I have I might be able to really quickly change the resource, but it would work the same way. Kiosks can be used for any type of resource. So let me see if I can swap that over. Or maybe add a, here we go, add resource to kiosk. So this is an example where I'm actually going to have a kiosk with 2 resources on it. Sometimes our kiosks can take up, I was going to say up to 60 seconds to refresh. There we go. Okay, so here we go. I have 2 resources on the same kiosk. So you can tell this one's a consumable. It has the active inventory right here. And I can reserve, AKA consume the inventory the same way I would with the other one. Ooh, I am hitting an error here. What's going on? I don't have permission to reserve this resource at this time. So there might be something else in here that's going on. But maybe because I'm in min, I can push through. Okay, I'd have to look into this, what my rules are maybe set up, why it's not letting me do that, but you can get you can add any type of resource to a kiosk. Let's see this one. Do you need to reserve a you don't have to reserve a consumable for a specific time. Like a consumable can be set to be a requestable resource or a reservable resource. So it depends on how, like what class of resource you set it up to begin with. In this case, this one, I don't know how I've set up my test strips. That might be the issue. but you do not have to have a calendar attached to a consumable. Yeah, not a problem.
Excellent. Okay. Did we answer all of our kiosk questions? I think we did. Yes, I think that one got addressed too. Reserving a consumable. Okay, yes. Okay, I think we've got all of those. Excellent. Got a couple minutes left. We'll see if we've got anything else. I think we might have gotten through all of our submitted questions. We did. Okay, so we have worked through all of the questions that were submitted ahead of time. So last call in the last 5 minutes here. If anybody else has another question that they'd like to submit, either in the chat or unmute yourself or in our Q&A, we'd be happy to go over one last question. Okay, I think we filled everybody's brains for the day then. So I guess we'll stop it here then. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming to our very first AMA Ask Me Anything session. Just a reminder that we do have more QUniversity webinars scheduled. Right now, I believe we have just Q2, excuse me. The rest of Q2 available for registration. But we will have some more coming up for Q3 that we will put up on the site as soon as they are ready to go. So our next one in June will be another Q&A that I'll be hosting with newer functionality too. So going over some of the newer features that we've brought into QReserve. Oh, it looks like we might have a question. Nabil, yeah, do you want to unmute, or you're welcome to type it in the chat? You can be our closing question. Just waiting for some typing, I think. Do we have that question coming in? Did you want to ask it? You're welcome to unmute if you'd like to ask it out loud. Oh, there we go. It was just long. Great.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hi. I hope you are doing well.
We are. Hope you are doing
well. As I mentioned in my comment, so my name is Nabil Awina from UMCSP, Morocco.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is that when someone looking for an article in QReserve from the resource items, so it appears like the item are not available, and then he cannot request it.
Mm-hmm.
So when we add the article later in the platform, so how can be the applicant that can get notification that the article he's looking for, it's available right now? So
okay.
So like we have a lot of articles, we have a lot of items in our login session, so we cannot notify everyone that the article that you are wearing it's available right now. So maybe it's good for us to add a button or a notification button in the middle of beside of the request button to get notified when the article it's available.
Okay, I see. So, excuse me. So you have a resource, for example, it's in the site. Is it not available because the user doesn't have the proper credentials to book it, or just it's not ready yet? Is it booked by someone else?
No, I'm not talking about the reservation.
Okay.
I'm talking about the request, the requestation function.
Okay,
so It's like we have a lot of items in our warehouse, so
Right.
everyone can request any item he needs, so he can pay the item later in adding account number.
Okay. So
So yes, there is a lot of articles that are not available in our warehouse, but when we get it, we add it in the platform in the resource items. So the requester or the applicant, how can be notified that the article are available?
gotcha. Okay. So for example, is it listed in your site, but it's out of stock?
Yeah, it's out of stock.
Okay. So it's there. So you have, it
Yeah.
exists. Okay.
Yeah, it exists. It already exists.
This is an interesting one.
No,
So we do have a way, I mean, you can, so let me just think here. We'll go into my site. One moment here.
Yeah, I can share the screen with you.
Yeah, so what I'm thinking, just let me share this for just 1 second in our lab demo. Oh, sorry, I didn't have it on the screen. So
as you can see right here.
I don't think you, oh, there we go. Okay. So I think the thing, you can message users by
Okay,
resource.
there you go. There you go. So when we go to site, so where is our, okay, there is central warehouse. It's our session. So there is a lot of categories. So like that one, it's not available.
Okay.
Okay, so how can the person he needs this product know that it's available later? So I can add the product from here, but he cannot notify that it's available or not.
Okay, so we do
So it's so helpful if you add the button here to can get notification later. That means the product is available.
Yeah, okay. I might have to think. We do have messaging available through the platform already under, if you look at the one I've shared here, under users and messaging, and you can message them by resource, for example, or by user or by credential. So there's a way of filtering out who you're messaging, but that would message like everybody. I'm not sure, because they're not able to make a reservation or a request if it's out of stock. I don't know if that's going to work. I know what you're trying to get to. You're trying to say you want them to be able to put in a request even though it's out of stock, and then get an update when it's back.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, almost like a wait list.
Yeah, exactly.
For that. Yeah, no, that's a good question. We have things that are similar, like we have the cancellation notifications. If someone was to cancel a reservation, you could get an email that it's available now, but a specific wait list. Cindy, are you aware of any kind of wait list functionality for that consumable example that Nabil has shared?
Not to users. I don't think we have one at the moment, although I do wonder if with our scripting and automated triggers, if we can, subscription, if we can run something daily that looks at any new units that were added and just notifies everyone.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, that could be one way to do it. It's just, one difficulty here is users don't typically request things that are out of stock. So you wouldn't know who has wanted to use this specific equipment or this article like you're mentioning. Although, yeah, so we can, if we do go the automated way, that would notify everyone that there's new stock for that specific article. So that's one way to do it.
Yeah, because that's what I mean. They can't make a reservation or request, or if it's not available, because they can't override. So that we can't distinguish who are the people that are looking, who need to be notified. It would notify everybody, right? All users. Hey, everybody, this is now in stock.
One thing, I wasn't able to catch that when you were sharing your screen, Nabil, but there is the option to have the messaging at the resource level turned on. So instead of registering for a wait list, I don't know if that was turned on for your resource, but they could send a message to the resource owner and say, hey, I see this is out of stock. Keep me in mind if it comes back in stock. So at least you'd have a paper trail and an email. That would require, if it isn't turned on already, that's a site setting that allows users to send messages to the resource owner. And I'm just trying to look where that is.
That was my other thought too, was to be able to contact them. I'm sorry, I went to the wrong spot. To contact them directly.
Oh, under general, the hide in contact forms for site and resource. I don't know if you're seeing that. If it's turned on for you, Marissa.
Yeah, I was just, let me just see if it is. Ooh, apparently, I think it might be. So we can go into, let's just check and find out. So if I go into the resource profile, or your user goes into the resource profile and clicks on the resource contact, which in this case is Cindy, they can message right here. That's what you were referring to, Dominique?
I'm on the resource profile itself here. Here, I can share my screen. This is an example just of a PCR machine I have. I've put this contact form down here so you can compose a new message. So if this was the resource that was out of stock and they weren't able to hit the request button, there would be this contact form down here that they could send directly to the resource owner. So this may be turned off if you don't. I think this is your best option right now. I think that's a great idea that you've shared. If this isn't turned on, where you can find that is if you go to site settings under general, you'll see this one. This may be turned off. If you keep this turned off, then you'll have that contact form pop up.
Yeah. So that would basically have them, they would contact that person to be put on a wait list, but it wouldn't
Yes.
like auto.
Yeah, exactly. You would at least have a trail of who's requesting it to then get in contact with them again.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yes, although we would love to take this back to the team and just understand what's possible in terms of like a wait list. And it's a great idea. I would definitely love hearing about it. We don't have a solution quite yet, but we're more than happy to just discuss it and see what's possible and let you know what we hear back.
Great. Okay. Thanks so much, everybody. I know we've got a couple minutes over, but that was a very interesting question to answer. So we appreciate all of your questions that have been submitted. Again, we'll have the recording up for you fairly soon on our QUniversity page. And if you'd like to sign up for our next webinar in June, the newer functionality too, the registration is open. You'll find that also on our QUniversity page. So thanks on behalf of the QReserve team. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. We appreciate you, and feel free to email us with any questions that you might think of after the session ends.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.